y'all, it's Jay. So, coming back from an injury kind of sucks. An interesting thing has happened, and that is my eyes have gotten a lot better. I don't know why, don't know how, but they're better. In fact, wearing my glasses makes me dizzy now. So you'll notice I'm not wearing glasses. Now I still have the double vision problem, but not having to wear glasses. So what I wanted to do today, and by the way, what that means to me is that the balls now, with my glasses, it's like playing on a snooker table. The balls are really small, the pockets are really small. They're not really any smaller, but they look that way, which means that I have to be more precise with what I'm shooting, or it feels like I have to be more precise. Without the glasses, the balls are about a third bigger. It's the difference between pool balls and snooker balls in terms of how they look. So we're going to see how that goes. I'm still a little bit recovering from the injury. You'll see I'm going to wear an arm brace when I shoot. What I wanted to do today is to do some rack analysis. Okay. Now the video I did on the first shot, oh my gosh, there was probably 20 hours of footage that I had to cut back and cut down to make usable, and we still ended up with an hour-long video. Going forward on those videos, I'm going to do them one piece at a time. So there are five major sections in the leaf zones. There's the stun, there's both left and right, there's straight in, there's the stun, left and right, and there's the rolling, left and right. I'm going to start doing those in pieces instead of doing the whole shot in one video. One, I think it's too much content for somebody to look through. It's certainly too big to go back and refer to. We're just going to do those in pieces. That should make it shorter in between videos, and it should also make it easier to consume for you. So today we're going to do rack analysis. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going to break. I'm going to tell you what I do from the actual break position. So wherever I leave after the break, I'll tell you what I would do from there. And then if it's not a good shot, I'll take ball in hand and I'll talk my way through the rack. This is like playing the Ghost, except that I'm playing a single inning, just like the Ghost. However, safeties are allowed to end the inning. So these are the actual shots I would shoot if I was shooting against somebody in a tournament or in a serious game. Okay, so this is the actual way I would play every one of these. I'm going to talk through them. I may go back after and do some diagramming on them, but I'm going to be talking through them while I'm shooting. Now, for those of you that have never tried it, talking through while you're shooting is tough. Basically, I'm going to be verbalizing my thoughts and thinking about what I'm doing. I may make mistakes. If I do, I will call them out on myself because I know it's a mistake when I shoot it. So let's just go ahead and move on from here. We're going to do some rack analysis and we're going to see how this goes. So just a quick tip on the break. If you have a break you use, you should know which balls go where on the table in general, right? If you're using the same break and you're hitting it consistently, the ball should be going to consistently the same places. So for example, I know that the 6 ball is going to stay roughly where it is. If I break from that side, I know the 6 ball is going to stay roughly where it is. It's going to get a little separation from the 9, but it's going to be right here. The 2 ball is going to come up here. And it might go in the corner, but my point is, the break that I'm using, I'm controlling the 1, so I have a shot on the 1. Okay, we assume we're going to make the 7 in the corner. We may or may not, but we always assume that we're going to make the wing ball. If the 1 is on the spot, the wing ball is going to go in the corner. So so if I know, so think about this. If I break from this side, the 2 ball stays right there, and the 6 ball comes up here. What does that do to me later in the game? Well, that means that at some point, so my 1 ball is going to come down here for a shot down in one of these 2 corners. If the 2 ball stays there, it means I have to come off this rail to get a shot on it in this corner, if nothing's in the way. If something's in the way, I'm screwed. So I don't want to break from this side. I want to break from that side over there so that the 1 comes up here and the 2 comes up here, so they're together, right? Okay, so you need to know where the different pieces of your rack are going to go. Now, I'm racking them randomly. What I'm talking about is reading the rack, okay? I'm not setting them up deliberately to do that. It's a random rack. It happens that the 2 is on the top, and so with the 2 on the top, what I expect to happen is I expect the 2 to come up here, and I also know that this bottom ball tends to come up, and if it doesn't make contact with anything, it ends up down here. Okay, so let's go ahead and break these and see what happens. Okay. So the easy answer here is this is a push, right? I'm never going to try to hit this 1 ball. It's got 3 blockers that are blocking every angle to get to it easily. If the opponent had left me this, I could hit it, but even then it would be iffy on whether I could get out. So I would push. So where would I push to? Well, it really doesn't matter. What I don't want to do is give them a straight shot where they can shoot the 1 pass and stop behind this wall. We want to make that wall, we want to use this wall, and we want to set them up in a way that they can't just push it and push me behind the 6 or the 8. So what I would do in this case is we also want to make sure that if they give it back to us, that we have some plan in mind. So what would I want to do? Well, first thing is, where can I put them that'll make this a tough shot to do anything with? Well, the answer to that is right down here on this rail, okay? If I leave the cue ball somewhere in here, okay, they're going to have a tough way to leave me safe. It also means I'm not going to be left safe. Now, my plan, if they give it back, is I'm going to try to roll the 1 off the 6 in the side. See, not an obvious shot, but it's there. And I'm going to let the cue ball go over here so that if the 1 doesn't go in, I'm behind the 8-3. Okay, that's the best you can do from here. This is a really bad position. So that would be my plan. Now, I don't have a shot. Like I said, I'm going to take the all in hand. Okay, so let's think our way through this table. We've got ball in hand, so the question of whether we can get a shot or not is immaterial. Okay, where are my problems? Well, the 5's a little bit of a problem. I don't want to play the combination, but if I'm over here, I kind of have to. So, I mean, it's not a horrible combination by any means. It's really makeable because that 9's so close to the corner. I may play for that on the 5, but let's think about getting there. Where's our problem? It's the 3 ball, right? But the 3's not actually a problem because it's got this pocket and the 2's here, which means I can stop here, I can roll off the 2 and come out here for the 3. I can shoot the 3, I can roll forward. I don't want to stun that because I don't, well, first of all, I need to get a weave on that 5 off the 4, so I need an angle, and this would be straight in on the 4. So I do want to roll forward, which means I'm going to brush the 6. I'm going to want just a little bit of angle so that the 3 goes in and I touch the 6. I don't want to do anything with the 6 except touch it, okay? Just to hold the cue ball up somewhere right here for that 4, which gives me the shot to shoot the 4, come off the rail, and down here for the 5, okay? And then I can shoot the 5 and just go forward and up, or forward off the rail and up for the 6 on the side. If I bump that 6, it's going to be clear to that side. So I can do that. I have to be really careful not to get behind the 8. Okay, so we figured out our first problem is the 3. So we need to get down to where we solve that. The 3, 4 is a problem. The 5 is really the big problem. So that would be the plan, is to deal with those, and then we'll worry about that. You know, when we shoot the 6, we can roll past for the 8, and then shoot the 8 and roll off this rail for the 9. That's kind of the plan. Let's see how we do. Again, use the rails. I'm not, even though I've got the angle to do it, I'm not going to try to stun to here. I'm going to roll off the rail in here. Okay, I am on the wrong side to bump the 6, so now I need to reevaluate. Okay, what can I do from here? This changes a lot of things. So after every shot, you have to reevaluate if you didn't get exactly where you planned. I didn't get where I planned. I'm still going to roll forward, okay? But now I'm going to roll forward off the rail and out. I'm not just going to try to wander. I could actually stun this too, which is not a bad shot. Stunning gives me a good angle to come off the 4 as I planned. Let's go ahead and stun this. I did not get my angle. That's what I was afraid of, is that I would stop dead straight in, which is exactly what I did. Okay, I am dead straight in on this 4. I have one option to get on the 5, which is to shoot it into this side of the corner pocket, withdraw, and try to draw down the table for the 5. I don't like that shot, especially since I'm over the 6. That shot gets really funky when you're that close and over, because that draw shot means I have to hit it like this, and you saw I just touched the 6, which would be a foul. So, and if I do get it, there's a chance of drawing back into the 8. What do I do here? Think about this for a second. What would you do here? Would you shoot the 4 and try to make the hero shot on the 5-9? Would you try to it is an option to force follow, which would hit, the cue ball would hit here, here, and come this way. You'd be coming into right next to the side pocket, so that's a little dangerous, right? What do you think is the right shot here? Is it to shoot the 4 in and try to make a shot on the 5? Is it to try to to play safe? What is it? What do you think is the right shot here? I've got a dead straight shot on the 4. Do I try the hero shot? This is really an interesting situation. I think that the right shot here, for me, the way that I would do this is I'd go ahead and shoot the 4 in, okay? There's no reason not to shoot the 4 in. I shoot the 4 in, and I just hold the cue ball out here, okay? That gives me the option, depending on the angle that I get, to bank the 5 up the table to the top of the middle rail and hold the cue right down here. Or I have the option to play the carom, to play the 9, and the 5 ball goes up that way. And if I miss the carom, the cue ball hits either here and comes behind the 8-6, or comes here. And then if it hits too early, it bounces up here and it's going straight towards the 8-6. So that's actually my play here. My thought is make the 4. We'll reevaluate after, but what we're looking to do is to play that carom into the 9. Okay. We just held it. We've got a full ball 5 we can hit. Now, I can either try to make contact this way. Okay, that's not that hard a shot. I need to hit it hard enough to get the 5 to the other end of the table. That 5's going to go here, here, and up this way. So I'm not going to put any English on this, okay? I'm not going... You could put right-hand English on this so that if you hit short, maybe it spins over and makes the 9. Personally, I'm not going to put any English on this because I want the 5 down here, because the cue's either going to be here or here at the end of the carom, and that'll lead me behind the 6-8. So that's my shot. Okay? It's the two-way shot. I'm going to take a shot at the 9, and I'm going to try to safe the 5. I'm actually okay with this leave, okay? Yes, the 5 is open, okay, the 5's makeable, but what do you do once you make the 5? How do you get on the 6 from here? You have to, you're dead straight in on the 5, okay? This is an absolutely straight in shot. So what does my opponent do after? They've got to play safe, right? They're not going to get out from there. I'm perfectly okay with this. All right, let's do another rack. Obviously, I would have liked to have hidden them, but it didn't work out that way. It's a really weird situation. So I'm looking at the rack, 2 balls on that side, so I'm going to break from this side. Now bear in mind, this doesn't always work, okay? Doesn't always work. I'm just telling you that most of the time, the top 2 balls are going to act the way that I described. So I'm going to play the percentages in my break shot. My percentage here is, if I hit this right, the 1 ball comes up table and the 2 ball also comes up table. And that also assumes, also assumes that because I'm using a wooden rack, we know that it's not going to be as consistent as it would be with a magic rack. If I put a magic rack on there, I can control those every shot. Okay, so let's take a look at what I've got. First of all, I've got a straight shot on the 2, a little bit of an angle. So what I don't want to do is end up behind this 5. Once I shoot the 2 in, there's no problems. It's all wide open. They're all relative ducks. Okay? The main thing is I want to shoot the 2 in, and I want to get on this side of the 4 so that I can play the 4 in the corner and just come off the rail this way for the 5 in the side. I shoot the 5 in the side. I can either roll this way or I can just stop. It doesn't matter. The 7's sitting out in the middle, so I shoot the 5 somewhere in this area with the cue ball. I shoot the 6 and I either float it or slow roll it or shoot it off the rail and let it bounce out for the 7. Depending on the angle, where I'd like to be on this 8 is I would like to be right here. Why right there or on this angle? Why do I want to be on this angle? Well, I don't want to draw for that 9, okay? Too hard to finesse. If I have to, I will, but I prefer not to draw. What I would rather do is shoot the 8 in, come off the rail, 1, 2, 3, and up for the 9 in that corner. It's a much higher percentage shot because it doesn't require the super fine control that the draw shot will. We'll see where we end up on that 8. By the way, you'll notice that if I get a straight shot from the 7 to the 8, I've still got that option, okay? Now, I could go with, instead of going wide like this, I could go forward and go 1, 2, and just float up this way a little. Can I move that? Let me put that back. If I go 1, 2, and out this way, I do run the risk of running into the 9. So we'll have to see what the angle is to decide whether we want to go that way or whether we want to go deliberately 3 and over. I would rather, if I get the angle, the perfect thing would be to go 1, 2, up this way and just bounce off the rail a little for that 9. 1, 2, I think I was in the way of the camera. Come here and just bounce off the rail. That would be the best way to play that 8. So okay, so let's shoot this. I got a little wide on this. If I shoot that in with any kind of power, I'm going to end up down here. That's actually not too bad. I can always draw off the 6. The tangent line on the 6 goes this way anyhow. So I'm going to hit this kind of medium speed and try to hit the 50-yard line between this side and this side. Let's see how that works out. I'm going to put some draw on this to help hold it. Okay, I ended up basically straight in. I could go forward and hit this rail, but if I do, the cue ball comes down here. Some players will do that and take that extra angle on the 7 so that they can come off the rail and up this way. Let me look at that real quick. So if I get here, that's a perfect angle. It's a basic cut with an angle to get to the rail and come this way for that 8. So I think that I'm just gonna hold the cue ball there. Okay. Rolled a little bit. That's okay. That happens with side pocket shots. So now I've got the 7. I can shoot the 7 in there, come off the rail and either straight across, or I have the choice to come out here and come this way. Obviously, to me, I don't want to draw, I don't want to stun this, have it hit here, and then spin this way. What I want to do is I want to stun it forward, right? Just a half a tip above center on the cue ball, so that instead of hitting the tangent line, which is right here, I'll hit at a shallower angle, or a sharper angle to the side, which gives me a better angle for the 8. You see that? See, I took the sharper angle. Now I hit it too hard. I would have liked to have been here so I could go 1, 2, and over. Because I've got this really wide angle, I'm not going to try to do anything fancy. I'm going to use bottom inside English. Remember, top English on this shot goes straight to the corner pocket. So I'm going to use just a hair of bottom English, bottom inside. I'm going to shoot it in and have the cue ball come out here, 1, 2, and up for the 9. And I screwed it up. It's my fault. Screwed that up. Why did I screw it up? I hit it too soft. I was tentative on it. When you get down to the 8 and the 9, you need to hit them with a little bit of authority. I was hesitant, and I just screwed it up. I ended up hitting the 8 too thin. I don't know if you saw that, but it didn't go to the center of the pocket. It went to the outside here. Still fell in, but because of that extra angle, I ended up scratching. My fault. Happens, but you can see what I was trying to do. Actually, let me set that back up so I can show you what that shot looks like, right? Now, the reason I'm going forward on this is because the 8 is below the 9. If the 8 was up here, I would be looking to draw it. But because it was down there, I think that's about where the cue ball was. It came 1, 2, and went too far. Because that 8 ball is below the 9, I don't want to draw it. Okay, rule of thumb. If the 8 is below the 9, you don't draw it unless it's straight in. You go forward. And I'm using bottom right hand English. See how much better that is when I hit it without being tentative? Okay, did I roll a little bit too far? Yes, but I didn't scratch and I still got a reasonable shot. So from here I just make the 9. By the way, do not roll this 9 ball in. When your cue ball, so here's straight in, when your cue ball's above that, you should go 2 rails, 1, 2, and out, always. Always, always, always. So that's how you do that, right? Let's do another one. Now the 2 is not in those top 2 balls this time. It's on one of the wings. So if I was to break this, and my break works the way it's supposed to, which it actually has not been, but if it worked the way that it's supposed to, the 1 ball goes off the rail and up here. The cue ball goes down to the rail and back up to here. The 5 ball goes down table. Either way, either side, the 5 ball is going to go down table. Can't help that. But what does the 2 ball do? If I break from here, the 2 ball goes straight across and it ends up down here somewhere. Now, do I really want the 1 here and the 2 here? No, I don't. So what can I do about that? Well, I can break from the other side and make the wing, right? And just take what it gives me. I only have those. I can't really do anything about where the balls are in the rack. Remember, this is supposedly a referee racking. So I just have to take what I get. So I'm gonna break from this side. I'm gonna try to pocket the 2, have the 1 come off the rail and up here. I'm gonna try to bring the cue ball back either somewhere in this area for the shot on the 1 in this corner. The 5 is going to go up the table. It's going to bounce off the rail here, and if it doesn't hit anything, it'll be up here, or possibly even go in, depending on how good a break I get. The 3 is going to come, it's going to bounce off this rail, and hopefully to the center of the table. But even if it's down here, that's still better than having the 1 up there and the 2 down here. So that's what I'm kind of looking at on this rack. So let's break it and see what happens. So obviously I didn't give myself a great rack. Okay, so let's look at where I am here. Obviously not a great break. Must have been my opponent breaking, so it's my shot now, right? Okay, so I'm looking at this. First thing I noticed, the 2-ball ended up in front of the pocket, right? That's great for me. Now, I have a choice on banking this. I can bank this shot. If I do, I have the choice of holding the cue there or rolling forward and off the rail and out. Which do I want to do? This is actually a dead bank. I'm looking at this, and this bank should just be straight in. Actually, it's not straight in. It's a little bit off. So here's what I can do. I have an option because of that, because it's not dead straight. If it was dead straight, I wouldn't have this option. The option is to hit it a little bit off with left hand running English so that the 1 spins off the rail into the pocket and the cue ball goes 3 rails around, hopefully out here for the 2. What would I do in a match? Would I go after this 1? The answer to that is there's a lot of really good safeties here. And I can make the 1. I know I can make the 1. But the leave on the 2 is problematic. I could stop the cue ball there. I'll be able to make the 2. But then my next shot, I've got the 9 in the way of getting to the 3 ball. So what would I do here? In a match, I would choose to play safe here. And my shot would be to play off the 1, send it up that way, and leave the cue behind the 6. Now, one of the problems with playing safe is quite often our mind will automatically calculate the bank. Okay? So whenever you're going to play something like this and you're going to be sending the ball near a pocket, always think about making sure you have a shot afterwards just in case it falls in. Either that or play to deliberately avoid all the pockets. So here I've got kind of a 2-way shot. I can hit the 1 to here, playing the cue ball off the rail and behind the 6. And if the 1 goes in, I should have a shot on the 2. If I actually get behind the 6, I'm screwed. So that's a problem. Remember on your safeties. Key point on safeties. I mentioned this in the safeties video. Key point on safeties. Only control 1 ball. You're either controlling the cue or you're controlling the object ball, never both. Okay? I also have the option of shooting off the side of it and going 1, 2, at the 3. If I do it right, I can either end up behind the 3 or I hit the 3 and 3 bounces out in front of the cue. So that's actually a pretty good safe here because it has no risk of the 1 going in unless it comes off the 5, which would just be, that'd just be horrible, but it happens. I could also play the 1 to hit up here and go 1, 2, 3 behind the 4. If I do that, I need to hit the 1 a little harder so it gets over in this side of the table. But so I'm trying to control 2 balls with that, so I wouldn't do that. My choices, legitimate choices, are shoot the 1 across to this side, kind of soft, let the cue ball roll off the rail and behind the 6. Okay? I'm not trying to control the 1. I'm not trying to put it in a specific place. I'm just saying shoot it at a speed to get over here. I can make that a little easier to do with a little bit of left-hand English so that when the cue hits the rail, it spins this way. But then, the further I am from the 6, the more precise I have to be. I really just want to roll it up on the 6. See, I got too far away and I sold out. Happens. All right, while I'm swapping cues, which side am I breaking from? Think about it. Got it? You know? Here we go. Why did I break from this side? Because the 2 ball comes up here and the 3 ball goes in the corner. So we want to keep the 1 and the 2 together if we can. Not together, but near each other where there's an easy leave. Why is my corner ball not going in? Okay, what am I doing here from position? What am I doing? Think about it. I can see the whole 1 ball, I believe. Yeah, I can see the whole 1 ball. I can make it inside if I shoot it really well and roll it in. If I try to hit this hard, this angle, it's going to bounce out. So it would have to be a touch shot to get the speed right to get it in there. What happens to the cue ball after that? Well, it ends up over here for that 2, and that's just no good. I would see that? If I can see it, that's the shot. So the 7 is blocking me on the shot to the corner. You might think about the corner in this case and shoot it. The 1 ball goes past the 9, past the whole corner. It's not blocked, but the 7 is blocking the cue ball to the 1. So what would I do here? So there's a really cool safe if I can play it where I hit really as thin as I can on the side of the 1 so that it just rolls a couple of inches and let the cue ball come down off the rail and behind the 9. That's a really good safety. It can be done. I think the problem with it here is that I have to hit that so thin, and if the 1 ball bounces off the rail and out, I end up selling out. I have to kick shot. I could kick behind the 1, try to get in the side or the corner, but if I miss, I sell out. There's no problems on the table. So for me, I really don't like pushing here, but I would probably think seriously about pushing right here. Okay, that gives a scratch shot if they try to cut it in the corner. They'll have to avoid this side. They'll have to do it really well, and that means they'll hit on this side, which means they have no shot on the 2 in the corner, which is it only has this corner and that corner as pockets. So I'd really think about pushing to here. Now I'm going to take ball in hand, but I would really think about pushing here. So with ball in hand, what am I doing here? Well, I'm going to shoot the 1 in that side. Why am I choosing that side? Because first of all, it's a side pocket, so it's bigger than the corners. Second, because I can roll the cue ball forward for that 2. Because remember, off this 2, I've got to get to this 3, which means I need to be either straight in and close so I can draw it, or I have to be off at an angle so I can shoot it in, come off the rail, and use the side-to-side route. Those are my 2 choices there. So follow is much easier to control than draw, so I'm going to follow this. I'm going to put it a little off angle, so if I get a muscle twitch or something, I don't. All right, so this just got really interesting. From here, what do? I underhit that. Remember, when you're playing 2 balls that are as close as they were, your tendency is going to be to underhit to avoid double hitting. I did underhit. So what do I do here? All right, let's think the rack out from here. Now that we've got our starting position. So I need to make the 2 in that corner. That's pretty obvious. My tangent line goes here on the 2. how do I get on that 3? Well, in theory, I could draw and spin off the rail, but if I do that, the 6 ball's here. So that's tough. The 5 ball is right in the way of the follow shot, so I can't follow it down and come up. That 5 is right in the middle of that. I'm not going to be able to spin it around it. What do you do here? I'll tell you what I do here. I don't try to do anything except make sure I'm not behind that 6. I will shoot this ball. I'll hit it below center a little bit more than a stun, so it's a little bit of a draw, but not a full draw. A full draw, I'm hitting the 6, which is bad because I could end up behind it. So I'll hit this below center, and I'll take what the table gives me. I'll take the long shot on the 3. The good news is it's out here. It's pretty wide. That's not a hard shot. I mean, I'd like to. Where would I like to be? I'd like to be right here for that shot, so I could hit the 3 and go 1, 2, straight in the line for the 4. Stop on the 4. So once I get on the 4, I stop on the 4, leaving the cue right here. I shoot the 5, so the cue comes off the rail and straight up the table. I shoot the 6 in the corner, come off the rail and straight across for the 7. Not going to try to do anything fancy there. I'm just going to try to come straight across for the 7. I shoot the 7 and stop. From here, I shoot the 8. The 8 is very, very close to frozen, but it's not frozen. So I'm going to shoot the 8, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, and up this way for the 9 on the side. Okay, that's my plan. The key to this whole thing is getting a shot on the 3 and getting fairly straight on the 4. So let's see if we can do that. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to have to roll for the 4. This is a speed shot. I can't hit this hard and go 1 because I've got traffic down here, right? So I'm going to have to shoot it and go off the rail and just straight up trying to get close to the center of the table. Boy, it's going to be hard to hold that. You know what I'm going to do? So trying to roll this in, you're coming pretty thin. There's the angle to the pocket. Here is the angle to the shot. I can't hit it super slow because I can't take the chance on the cue ball rolling off. That means I'm going to be coming in at this angle. I'm going to be getting a really nip shot on that. Cue ball's going to come off there fast. So rather than trying to hold for the center and slow roll this, I'm going to hit it with a little speed, let it go in and go 1. I'm going to go off the top rail and back out. Okay, that way I don't have to make this a touch shot. That way I can hit this, and all I have to do is make sure that I get past the center of the 4. So I need to get past here. So I need to go up, down to this rail, and up past here. Even if I'm over here, it's okay. I've still got a good shot on the 4. Okay? The thing that I want to avoid is rolling it in and having the cue ball come up here. Then I'm screwed. So I'm going to hit this a little harder to go 2 rails and out for the 4. Or I could hit the 4 and hide myself. Okay, I got really lucky there. No lie about it. I got really lucky. Tough shot to get right. I didn't get it right, but I got a lucky leave. It happens. Okay, from here, I'm going to try to get back on my plan. I'm going to try to hit the 4. I'm going to try to come... Actually, you know what? I think I want to shoot that 6 up in that corner. I'm going to shoot the 4. I'm going to come off. And I'm going to try to get where I can hit the 5 in and either stop or roll this way a little. I do not want to get to this rail. If I'm in danger of stunning to this rail, I'm going to go forward and bounce off the rail for my lead, because I really want to be on this side of the 6 so I can shoot the 6 and just come naturally up for the 7. Does that make sense? That actually worked out just about perfectly. I can stun this. The cue ball is going to go. That is going to drift this way. It's almost a straight in shot, so it's just going to drift. So we don't want it to drift too much. We're going to put just about a half a tip of bottom English on this, just so that when it goes in, instead of going this way, it goes this way. That's all. And we're going to try to hit this to the right side of the pocket to minimize the amount of movement of the cue ball. Okay, now we're going to shoot this up here. We've got an angle, so the cue ball is going to come off. If we put just a little bit of top on it, the cue ball is going to come off, hit here, and come out here. So we can hit this, and this is a pretty full hit, so we can hit it with a little authority, which we needed. We did not need to be out here trying to finesse this. All right, so we're going to play it down in the corner. Now we've got our shot on the 7. We shoot the 7 in, we bounce off the rail. Okay, 7 in the corner, cue ball comes and bounces off the rail. We don't want it to bounce too far, but we want it to bounce. We don't want to be on the rail. And then on this 8 ball, we're going to use top left, go 1, 2, 3, and this way towards that 9 in the side. When we see the final angle that we end up with, we'll decide whether we're going in the side or up in the top corner. Just enough off the rail that we're not doing it. We're going to be using top, so it's okay. So top left. Off the 3 rails, straight up towards the 9. Now we can decide 9 in the side or 9 in the corner. Given the choice, I'd rather shoot it in the side, so we're not going to hit this hard. We're not going to be tentative on it. We're going to have a confident stroke, but we're not going to pound this in. Okay, there you go. There's a rack. There is nothing here that tells me which side I should break from. I should just break from whichever side is breaking better. This side has not been doing very well for me, so I'm going to switch to this side. I can't control anything in this rack with any degree of certainty. That's why it doesn't matter which side I break from, and I'm just going to go to whichever side I'm breaking best from. There's no advantage whether the 7 or 8 goes in. It doesn't change the order. If you make the 7, the 8 comes after the 6. If you make the 8, the 7 comes after the 6. So there's no order here to think about. The only thing to do is break this, concentrate on getting lead on the 1, and take it from whatever happens. Woo! That is nowhere near where I wanted to hit that. That is horrible. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm on the 2, and I've got a mess. What am I doing? Well, I can see the whole 2, so I would rather play a safety than push, right? Let me say that again. I would rather play a shot first. If I can't do that, I want to play safe, and if I can't do that, then I want to push. Here, I've got the whole ball. I've got several options for safeties. I can brush across the front of it, thin, let the 2 come off the rail and over here, and the cue ball bounce back behind the 7-9. Now the problem with that is jump cues. If there were no jump cues, that's a great safety, okay? Very hard to hit that too, but because of jump cues, it becomes an easy shot to make. With jump cues in the game, what I want to do is I want to come off this side of the 2, come 1, 2, and just touch the 5. That puts me behind the 5 with the 4 in the way of a kick shot. The 2 is going to go off the rail and under the 9, potentially leaving it. So that's the shot here. Perfectly acceptable. Not a jump shot there. It's going to have to be a kick. There's no way to kick it to make it. I mean, you could kick it this way, but that's a bad kick. I'm perfectly fine with that safety. That is the right shot there. You can see I actually messed it up a little. I hit it too thick. That's why it hit the 7 and didn't go behind the 9. I hit it too thick, but because this is covering so many angles, I effectively couldn't miss, but I wanted to miss, right? But I couldn't miss getting behind these. Even if I hit it too hard, the cue ball potentially hits the 5. I mean, that's a good signal. Either one. If you break from this side, the 3 is going to stay there, but the 2 is going to hopefully run up table or out to the middle of the table. If you break from this side, the 2 goes in, the 1's up table, and the 3 is down in this general area. It really doesn't matter. So there's nothing to control here. Just pick where you've been breaking best from. I obviously was not breaking best from that side. I was breaking best from this side. And that has nothing to do with the table, by the way. That has to do with my mechanics, okay? The way my mechanics are working right now, this side's better for me, so that's where I'm going to break from. Okay, so I end up with this a lot after that break. I hit that too soft and I didn't have any draw on it. That's why the cue ball stayed up there. I don't like leaving the cue ball up top. I would rather draw it back to this end of the table. That said, okay, what are our options? What do we do here? First of all, do we have any problems? I see no problems on this table at all. Okay, so what do we do in a match with this position? It's actually a pretty good shot to shoot the 1 off the rail this way. In fact, you could even try to make it because the cue ball is going to come out here, but if we're going to try to make it, we need to make sure we get past the 6. And that's going to mean that the 1's going to come back up if we do miss it and leave a shot. So we got to be careful about that. The highest percentage shot here is to shoot the 1 off and aim it at the 7. Try to hit the 7 with the 1 ball. That's going to bring the cue this way at a fairly sharp angle, and potentially we could end up behind the 6. We could end up, if we pick up some spin, we could end up behind the 3 and the 2. That'd be okay. If the 1 hits the 7 like we planned, it's going to drift behind the 5 and the 9. This is just got safety written all over it. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to hit the 7 with the 1 ball. Okay, I missed it. That's okay. Look where I end up. I don't care who you are, that's going to be a tough hit. Okay, this is the way to hit this from here is come off the rail, off this rail, and across the face of the one, so that hopefully the cue spins behind and comes over here, and the one ends up here. But I mean, you can see, obviously, this is a good place to be. So that's what we would do on that shot. Next round. So let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with going for shots that are high percentage, but when you have a choice between a low percentage shot and a high percentage safety, you should always shoot the high percentage safety. So hopefully that gave you some ideas about how to handle the shot after the break. We'll come back, we'll do many more of these. We'll also look at other players and how the choices that they make. With that, I'm gonna let you go. We'll catch you next time. Have a great day. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ding the notification bell. We'll catch you next time.